Hello, my amazing learners, and welcome back to the Wisdom English podcast. My name is Sarah, and I am so excited to have you here with me as we talk about a topic that so many of you wonder about: how to learn English effortlessly. If you've ever felt like learning English is too hard, or that it takes too much time and intense effort, then this episode is just for you. Over the years, I've seen how many students get frustrated with traditional methods, feeling like they're not improving as quickly as they'd like. But the truth is, learning English doesn't have to be a struggle. In fact, it can be simple, fun, and yes, feel effortless. And make sure you stay with me until the very end, because I'll be sharing the single most important secret that ties all of these strategies together. So, before we dive into the specific methods, let's first talk about what we really mean by effortless learning. You might be thinking, is it really possible to learn something as complex as English without it feeling like hard work? The answer is yes, and here's why. When we think of learning, we often imagine sitting at a desk for hours, trying to memorize long vocabulary lists, and going through endless confusing grammar rules. But this traditional way of studying isn't always the most effective. Instead of thinking of learning as something that requires intense effort and frustration, I want you to start thinking of it as something natural and enjoyable. This is the heart of effortless learning. It's about removing the pressure and stress that so often come with learning a language. It's about using methods that feel easy, engaging, and even relaxing. The first step to effortless learning is shifting your mindset. Many learners believe that they need to work extremely hard or that they have to be perfect to succeed. But if you approach English with a positive mindset, focusing on progress rather than perfection, you'll start to enjoy the process. The less pressure you put on yourself, the more natural your learning will feel. The second part of this mindset is to learn through real experiences, not just memorization. Think about how you learned your first language as a child. You didn't study grammar rules. You learned by listening, playing, and being surrounded by the language. The more you were exposed to it, the better you got. This is the same idea for learning English. This brings us to the most powerful way to learn English effortlessly: immersing yourself in the language. Immersion is the process of surrounding yourself with a language as much as possible until it becomes a natural part of your daily life. The more you are exposed to English in everyday situations, the more easily you'll start to understand it, speak it, and even think in it. But the key is consistency. The more often you practice and expose yourself to English, the easier it will become. So, how can you immerse yourself in English? Let's start with your ears. One of the best ways to immerse yourself is through listening. The more you listen, the more you will begin to recognize words, understand sentence structures, and develop a natural feel for how the language flows. You can listen to English content while doing other activities, which makes it easy to incorporate into your daily life. Some great options for listening include podcasts. You can choose podcasts that match your level and interests. There are podcasts available for beginners, intermediate learners, and advanced learners. You can listen to stories, interviews, and discussions about various topics. Listening to English music is another fun way to practice. Pay attention to the lyrics and try to understand the meaning of the words. You can even sing along to improve your pronunciation and fluency. If you enjoy reading, audiobooks are a great way to combine listening and reading. Find books you're interested in and listen while following along with the text. This helps you learn new vocabulary in context and improves your comprehension. Watching movies or TV shows in English is another excellent way to immerse yourself. You can start with subtitles in your own language, and then switch to English subtitles as you improve. This helps you learn everyday vocabulary, slang, and expressions that native speakers use. To fully immerse yourself, you should also make changes in your environment so that English is everywhere you look. A simple but powerful trick is to change the language settings on your phone, social media, and computer to English. This will help you pick up new vocabulary and get used to seeing words in English daily. Another great way to learn vocabulary is by labeling things in your house. Stick small notes or labels on objects like the refrigerator, door, or desk, and write the names of these items in English. Every time you use these items, you'll be reminded of the words. Of course, one of the best ways to immerse yourself in English is by speaking with others who speak it fluently. Engaging in conversations helps you practice in real-life situations and builds your confidence. Don't be afraid of making mistakes. Speaking is one of the quickest ways to learn. You can find a language exchange partner, someone who is learning your native language, and arrange to speak with them regularly. There are many apps and websites where you can find language partners, like Tandem or HelloTalk. If you have friends who are fluent in English, try speaking with them in English during your conversations. You can also join online English classes or speaking clubs where you can talk with other learners and native speakers. Reading in English every day is another excellent way to immerse yourself. It helps you improve your vocabulary, learn how sentences are constructed, and exposes you to different writing styles. You can pick books that match your level, read articles and blogs on topics that interest you, or even read the news in English. Websites like BBC Learning English offer news in simple English, which can be especially helpful for beginners. Finally, even though writing isn't always part of the immersion process, it's a great way to practice your English. Writing regularly helps you solidify new vocabulary, improve your grammar, and get more comfortable with sentence structures. You can start by keeping a journal. Write about your day, your thoughts, or what you've learned. The more you write in English, the better your skills will become. Remember, the key to immersion is consistency. The more time you spend with English, the more naturally you will learn it. Over time, you'll see a huge improvement in your ability to understand, speak, and think in English. Now, when it comes to learning English effortlessly, focusing on listening and speaking is one of the most effective strategies. These two skills are the foundation of language learning. Listening helps you develop a better understanding of how English works in real-life situations. By listening to native speakers, you get to hear how words are pronounced, how sentences flow, and how language is used in different contexts. This exposure helps you improve your vocabulary and comprehension without even realizing it. Speaking is essential because it allows you to practice using English actively. Many learners focus too much on reading and writing and forget about speaking, but the more you speak, the more confident you become. Speaking also helps solidify your language skills because it forces you to recall vocabulary and grammar in real time. Listening and speaking go hand in hand. When you listen to English, you hear new words and phrases, which you can then use when you speak. By focusing on listening first, you prepare your brain to understand and produce the language when it's time to speak. To improve your listening skills, focus on making listening a regular, enjoyable part of your daily routine. Choose content you enjoy, like podcasts, music, or TV shows. If you're watching a movie, start with subtitles in your native language, then switch to English subtitles as you improve. This helps connect the spoken and written language. To improve your speaking skills, you simply have to speak as much as possible. It might feel intimidating at first, but the more you speak, the more fluent you will become. If you don't have anyone to speak with, you can practice speaking alone. Try talking to yourself in English about your day, your plans, or your thoughts. This is a great way to build confidence. You can also record yourself speaking and listen back to identify areas where you can improve. And please, do not fear mistakes. Mistakes are a natural part of the learning process. The key is to keep going. When it comes to learning English, one of the most effective ways to expand your vocabulary is to learn words in context. Simply memorizing a list of new words without understanding how they fit into real-life situations can make them harder to remember and use. Learning vocabulary through context helps you understand the meaning, usage, and nuances of words more naturally. It improves retention, because when you learn a word through context, you're more likely to remember it. Understanding how a word is used in a sentence or story gives you a mental image of it in action. It also helps you understand nuances. Many English words have multiple meanings, and context helps you grasp these subtleties. So, how do you learn vocabulary in context? As we've discussed, read stories and articles. When you read books, stories, or blog posts, you're constantly exposed to new words in real-life situations. Watch movies and TV shows. Hearing words used in natural conversations allows you to understand not only their meaning but also how they are pronounced. Listen to podcasts and audiobooks. They provide context through spoken words, and you will hear words used in different topics. Engage in conversations. Speaking with others is a powerful way to learn vocabulary in context. Rather than just memorizing vocabulary lists, try to use new words and sentences. This helps you remember them and understand how they fit into your own communication. Grouping words by themes or categories, such as food, travel, or emotions, also helps you learn them in a more organized way. And to make new vocabulary stick, try to relate the words to your personal experiences. For example, if you learn the word adventure, think about your own travels or exciting experiences. When you make these personal connections, the words become more meaningful and easier to remember. No matter how you choose to learn, repetition is key. The more you encounter a word in different contexts, the more deeply it will become embedded in your memory. When it comes to learning a new language, one of the most important habits you can develop is consistent practice. Many learners believe that intensive study sessions are the best way to improve. However, research and experience show that consistent, regular practice is far more effective for long-term success. Why is consistency so key? When you practice consistently, you allow your brain to absorb information gradually. This leads to better long-term retention of vocabulary and grammar. Intensive practice can lead to burnout, but by practicing in smaller, manageable chunks, You avoid the risk of burnout and keep your learning experience enjoyable. Consistency also turns learning into a habit. When you practice English every day, even for a short amount of time, you create a routine that becomes a natural part of your life. And regular practice helps you become more fluent. By exposing yourself to the language consistently, you start thinking in English, which is a crucial step toward fluency. So, how do you practice consistently? First, set a realistic schedule. It's better to practice a little every day than to study for hours once a week. Second, incorporate English into your daily life. Listen to English podcasts while commuting, watch English TV shows in your free time, or read articles in English. Third, use language learning apps. They offer bite-sized lessons that you can complete in just a few minutes each day. Fourth, practice speaking with a language partner. Schedule regular conversations even if they're just for 10 or 15 minutes. Fifth, track your progress. Use a journal or an app to record your achievements. When you see how much you've accomplished, it will encourage you to keep going. And finally, make your practice enjoyable. If you enjoy the process, you'll be more likely to stick with it over time. Of course, even the most motivated learners experience moments of frustration. It's normal to feel stuck or discouraged at times, but it's important not to let these feelings stop you. Having a positive attitude plays a significant role in language learning. It helps you overcome doubts and fears. When you believe in your ability to improve, you're more likely to stay committed. A positive mindset is a powerful motivator. To stay motivated, you should set clear and achievable goals. Break down your larger goals into smaller, manageable steps. Track your progress to see how far you've come, and understand your why. Having a clear reason for learning English will give you the determination to continue. Celebrate your small wins. Every time you learn a new word or complete a lesson, take a moment to celebrate and mix up your learning methods. Variety keeps things interesting and ensures you stay engaged. When you face difficulties, take a step back, breathe, and remind yourself that learning is a journey. Everyone experiences setbacks, but they don't define your ability to succeed. If you're feeling frustrated, take a short break or try something different to refresh your mindset. And always, be patient with yourself. Language learning takes time. You won't become fluent overnight. Trust the process and enjoy the small victories along the way. The final secret: learning English doesn't have to be a daunting task. By approaching it with the right mindset, consistent practice, and the right techniques, you can make the process more enjoyable and effective. We've explored several key strategies to help you learn English effortlessly, from immersing yourself in the language to focusing on consistent practice. By integrating English into your daily life, you create an environment where learning feels natural rather than forced. Remember that language learning is a marathon, not a sprint. Patience and consistency are crucial in achieving fluency. Focus on progress, not perfection, and celebrate every small achievement along the way. Most importantly, stay positive and motivated. And now, for the secret I promised at the beginning. The single most important secret that ties all of these strategies together is this: effortless doesn't mean no effort. It means the effort becomes joyful. The key is to find the enjoyment in the process. When the effort you put in listening to a song, reading a chapter, having a short conversation brings you a small piece of joy, it no longer feels like work. It feels like living. When you find that joy, you will never want to stop, and your progress will become truly effortless. So, my challenge to you is this. Find one thing about learning English that you can genuinely enjoy and do it this week. Maybe it's watching a funny TV show, listening to a fascinating podcast, or playing a language game on your phone. Find your fun. Then, come back to this video and tell us what you did in the comments below. Let's share the joy of learning together. Please like, share, and subscribe to the Wisdom English podcast channel to watch our next videos.